welcome. You're out in the countryside.
Yeah, I'm swatting the flies away. I'm telling you, this is the southern heat here. The weather, it's amazing. But it's
Nice.
so beautiful out here. I had to sit out here. I'm sitting right in the middle of the street, by the way, if you can't notice.
You're in the middle of the road. I didn't see the road.
I need to dodge cars as they pass by here. All right. Okay.
Nice. Welcome. Good evening. This is probably the latest we've ever gone live, and kind of unannounced.
Welcome everybody to Chaps Mini Cultures at a later hour of the day, because you bloody people on the Pacific Coast, you won't get up soon enough to watch us when we do it live. So this one's for you. All right. Now you have no more excuse.
and of course, if you're in the more Australian regions or Chinese or Asian regions, then you're awake too. So we welcome to you if you're watching it live.
Which reminds me, Brett, let's not forget, I'm going to announce this here, but I have an Australian friend that you don't know yet. There's an Aussie that you haven't met yet who wants to be on our show. And I guess we'll have to do it at around this hour so we can catch him on Sydney time. Just I
don't know. Every time somebody hears my accent, they say, "Oh, I've got an Australian friend. Do you know them?" I went, "Yeah, well, of course.
We know every Australian.
There's only 25 million of us."
Right. And I found one that you don't know yet. So be surprised. Be very surprised.
You did. Absolutely. Which happens. And this is a bit of an impromptu episode. We had some plans, they fell through, and we're going to adjust, and we're going to adapt, and we're going to go forward. And here we are.
In the middle of the road.
On the road, in the middle of the road. Very good.
Fly away.
So surprisingly wonderful sound without the sound of, maybe we should have put some backtrack in there, a little bit of cricket or something like that.
Chirping, and the occasional roadside toad with
right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome everybody. Yes, it's the end of a long day, and we knew this was going to come up at the start of this project. We're at the 44th episode, just quietly, and it's taken 44 episodes to get to a point where we had to turn up late in the day because we both had commitments work commitments, training commitments during the day. And so it was a great day, very productive. We got a lot of stuff done, but this is our last thing. I think for me, no, actually, it's not the last thing off for this. Because we work in the global setting, we have clients all around the world. That's the thing.
Despite all the other commitments, we're still here. That's how devoted and dedicated we are to you, global people. There you go.
That's right.
Aren't we great?
Aren't we great? Yeah, we've got to patting ourselves on the back and encouraging, but showing what
there's a fly. Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
It's still there. It's smooched. It's the blood and everything. So no worries.
Never mind.
So, which brings me to one of my commitments today. Was wonderful discussion with a budding interculturalist who had reached out, and I love these conversations because they're usually very, very positive. Actually, I don't think I've had a bad one. When somebody reaches out and says, I'm really interested in this in this whole topic, and how do I get to do what you do, right? And so it usually starts with a spark, something that they're doing already with an existing job. In today's case, it was. And they're working with international students, but then they see in the workings of doing that this wonderful experience of seeing what culture does, how it represents itself in young people, I guess, and but how can you translate that into business? So it was a very good conversation, and it brought to mind the many discussions we have about what does it take to be an interculturalist. Do you need certification? That question came up, which we've covered. We should have checked what episode that was. We covered that. Do you need certifications? Do you need to be certified in assessments and things like that? So we talked through that. We talked about focusing in on your client, whether it be sticking with students, whether it be expanding into executive training and coaching. Mm-hmm. These discussions are very multifaceted. So I really enjoyed it.
I've had a few of those lately as well. And maybe it's And I've talked to my coach about it today. I had my coaching call with my coach, and I mentioned this to him as well. I talked to my wife about it, talked to you about it, and I've been getting these I've been having these conversations more frequently now. And I'm wondering, is it because I'm getting older and more experienced, and I've been around the block for a little longer than many others in the industry, that people recognize me as somebody who, or you and me as somebody who's been doing this work for a while, and so they ask you and me about this? Is it that we're being relentless in putting out daily videos on every weekday, that we're present on social media and we just pound in the message that we're the two chaps with the many cultures? I think it's a mixture of all of these, and I was reminded of what my teachers kept telling me over the years. It's the trifecta of getting good at something is you learn, you do, and you teach. So learn, do, teach, and that's a cycle. So I've learned to do this, and I've continued to learn, and then at some point I started doing it, and I continued doing it. So now I think we're entering the phase where we start teaching it as well. Not teaching it as to our clients, students in quotation marks. Maybe now is a time for us, experienced practitioners in the field, to pass on the legacy, basically, of the work that we do, to pass on the baton to a younger generation of interculturalists who goes about this from a different starting point than we did. I remember when I started this work, I was very innocent about this, ignorant and innocent, yet curious, but with very little preconceived context. And I think the millennials and generation Zs that are approaching me about how do I do what you do, they come primed. They come with more information, more experience to this field than I had when I began. So that's why I find these conversations to be very engaging and interesting, and it triggered in me this desire to be a mentor to those who come after us, because once I'm done doing what I do, because I was stung by that bug that is gonna hit me at one point, and I'll be out and done and mic drop and it's over, who else is going to do our work? And I think it would behoove people like you and me to ensure quality of the next generation who does what we do, and they hopefully do it better than we do.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole idea. Yeah. I think I love that trifecta. I love that, and it just for those, well, nobody would know this, but yeah, last night I shared a show with Christian about a gentleman in the New York theater scene, right? Which he did exactly that, and he had a massive, somebody I'd never heard of, right?
George Tabori. Let's name the man, George Tabori, right?
Yeah, George Tabori, who collaborated with I'm going to forget his name. It's been a long day, but it was a collaboration in the New York theater scene that brought in, I mean, these actors that were in this theater scene, this small theater group called the American Theater, were some of the best we know, the biggest names of today, right? They're just household names. Kirk Douglas, these guys. These are Michael Douglas. There's just so many big names that came out of this, and this was basically somebody who just started out in theatre, got interested in it, learnt the craft, and then went on and said, I can pass this on. And still at 97, he is still teaching this 4 times a week, the same class that he's been doing since 1956. It's like, wow, that's bananas, right? So I don't think we've got that left in us. Well, maybe we have. We're only young men.
Who's to know? I mean, good Vegemite consumption will conserve you forever, I guess. And for me, it's pretzel, sausage, and beer. We'll just come on,
Yeah.
we'll be old. But the
his name is Win Handeman. That's the name of the guy. Win Handeman, who worked with George Tabori. So Win Handeman, who I'd never heard of, and yet he's had such a huge effect on the theatre scene and ergo the entertainment scene in what we see in movies and things like that.
I need to watch that documentary. So it's called "It Takes a Lunatic," right?
That's Takes a Lunatic. Yes, I recommend anybody who's looking for something to watch. It Takes a Lunatic, a documentary, and actually filmed in kind of a theatre art house type of style, which is really fun to watch too. You know, but it was just so insightful and showing that this guy had this training, the spark of doing kind of like we're describing. We got the spark of doing intercultural work. He got the spark of theatre. He went into it not really as an actor, but really as a producer and a director. And then brought in, he recognized, and the other great aspect about I think was really impactful is that there was no limit and no definitive focus on who and how people came to this theatre. He did really cutting edge work in the theatre with people of colour and Asian Americans and LGBTQ community as well. It was fantastic.
So what brought this up for you was the fact that you can only become good at something if you have somebody to teach you a few things, right? So you learn from somebody who's been down that path before you. You just follow a trail that somebody else blazed for you, and you expand that trail with your footprint. And then so you learn, and then you start doing. You practice what you learned, and at some point it's your job to teach it to those who walk behind you. Right. And I never thought about this when I was younger, to be honest. I was short-sighted around this. When I was in my 30s and early 40s, I thought, well, I got to earn my chops. It's about proving myself in my field. It's about showing how good I am, and hey, look, I'm competent. I can do this. It never crossed my mind that at some point people might actually ask me to show them how to do it. Yeah. And when that first happened, I thought, dang it, I'm not that old yet. How's this happening? So I'm not sure if this is an age thing. I'm not really sure, but I'm pushing 50 this year. So maybe it has to do with age, maybe. I don't know.
Well, that's another aspect to remember. I didn't think of that. There's another aspect of that when we're talking to these to people like this that are kind of like younger than us, looking to come into the field, is that I wish I'd have known that, like when I started in the field, to prepare myself to teach it a little bit better. So as you're going along, remember that you've got to remember it through the lens of looking forward to the day when somebody's going to come to you and say, can you teach me what you do? Now, I think that inherently, if you in our work, we're trained to be teachers, we're trained to be coaches, we're trained to be facilitators. So I think probably comes with the territory.
Right. And hindsight is always 2020, or this year is always going to be 2020. I'm sorry, stupid pun. In hindsight, we're always, that was a dad joke. I'm sorry. So in hindsight, we're always smarter, right? So of course I should have taken notes when I was 27, and I didn't. It still turned out okay. So, but what this brings up is, I'm going to place this underneath our beautiful faces. This, I don't want your questions necessarily. Sure, I want your questions, but this is a standard block that we bring in. But what we would like to know from you as you're watching this, and if you know somebody who is looking to enter our field, or maybe it's you who are watching us ramble on aimlessly on a Thursday evening about our days. If it's you who asked me or ask Brett about how do you do what we do, how do you get into this field, I'd be curious to find out what are the elements, what are the tools that you would expect to find in that toolbox. Because there are certification courses out there. There are other people who teach to the next generation what they do. But what Brett and I do is a little different from what others in the field do. This is not a uniform, standardized field, professional field. So there are many, many different shades of intercultural work. So that's why I'm curious. When you get a toolbox, when you know you want to get this toolbox to be a good interculturalist, an efficient interculturalist, what do you expect to be in that tool? What elements, what individual tools do you expect to find in that? And I'd like to know that from you. So put your comments or questions or those expectations in the chat box, or send us a direct message. You find us on Facebook, you find us on YouTube. There's ways to engage with us that do not require the open forum. It's up to you how you want to bring that to our attention. But consider it like a little bit of a survey. Consider it a market research, because Brett and I know that this isn't just two chaps talking about this. We also know that there is an outcome at this. There is something that we can pass on to those of you who want to do what we do. And it works a lot better if we manage the expectations, yours and ours. So let us know what it is you would like to find in that toolbox. Yeah.
I found one of the sayings that this Win Handman quoted. He said, I've always believed, he said, it sounds strange. He said, I wouldn't normally quote a communist, but he said, Trotsky said, you only die if you fail to live on in others. That's an impactful statement. Now, he said, it could have been said by somebody better, but he said, at the end of the day, it's a pretty good statement, no matter who said it, right? You only die if you fail to live on in others. And that's what his philosophy was. It was constant sharing, giving, passing on, thinking.
Because and he who has the most toys will not be able to take them to the grave, right? So if we accumulate all this experience, knowledge, maybe some wisdom here and there, if we take that to our graves without passing it on, what good did it do? It served us, and that would be quite egotistical. Egotistic? What's the word? It would be
egotistical. Yes,
right.
Like Seth Godin says, you are doing a disservice if you don't share your information, if you don't pass your information, right? The world deserves to hear from you, and you're being selfish if you don't pass it on. And by the way, the tools that we get to play with are fun. It's like, I'm not saying other jobs aren't fun, but the tools we get to play with, they're pretty cool. They're fun. It's like, it's like having a boat, but just a lot cheaper.
Power tools.
Yeah, and you won't
very fast tools like the Ferraris. Very fast. See all the props I have here. Power tools.
All I've got is a whale.
A whale.
I've got a double whale.
Can you hear the bell ringing? The bell is ringing for you to become certified.
Cowbell. More cowbell, please.
We need more cowbell. See, this new studio is awesome. However, if you don't call us, we can't pick up the phone for that. So. Oh man, I love this.
There's a whole generation that just looked at that and said, "What was he doing there? What is that?"
This is okay, guys. You don't know what this is. This is a rotary phone where you dial in.
How do you take a selfie with that?
I don't know. You hold this up and hit your head with it. I don't know how this works.
Oh, enough of this. That's good fun. It's good fun. We knew this was going to happen. This was great. This is what impromptu episodes are.
This guy is on 2 hours of sleep, and you wonder why I'm mad. All right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Well,
we're
done.
serious about this. So yeah. Brett and I are bringing up this topic to your attention because there is something bubbling inside of us, and in our field, we were being approached by some of you. So in order to make this the best possible solution that Brett and I can dream up, we want your input. Otherwise, you'll just get what we dream up. And if you tell us what you want, what you really, really want, we might be able to design something around exactly those needs. How's that?
You don't want to know what goes on in this head when he dreams.
Oh man, I should introduce you to an Australian shrink that you don't know yet, but he will get that out of you.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, that's great fun. Yes, absolutely. Respond to our pleading, and also subscribe to our YouTube channels for more of this stuff. For
more of this travesty here.
Tomorrow, we have a guest tomorrow.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah. Is it going to be a good one?
Really interesting topic about building your career, continuing to build and grow your career when you're on an international assignment, when you're working abroad. I mean, this is a long overdue topic, I think, for us, and great. We've got one of the best people in the field, so we're not going to give it up. We're not going to give it up. By the way, you can go to the Facebook page and the YouTube. It's already scheduled.
See it anyway. So no spoilers here. Spoilers only for subscribers. There you go.
That's right. Only subscribers. Come into the realm.
Two Chaps, Many Cultures out for now. Have a wonderful Thursday, rest of a Thursday, whatever it is on your end of the globe. It might already be Friday where you are, and good on you.
Right. All right. It is. The world will never end today, because it's always tomorrow in Australia, by the way.
Boo, that was deep.
That's deep, see? You didn't know I was going to lay that on you, did
you? There's a kangaroo hopping over right there, and see the emu running by? The emu? All right, okay. Two Chaps are out. See you tomorrow, guys.
Bye.